Nate the Great and the Hungry Book Club. Chapter 1. Torn, Ripped, Ruined. My name is Nate the Great. I am a detective. My dog Sludge is a detective too. Ouch! Right now I am a mumbling, bumbling, tripping detective. I have just tripped over a big pile of books that Rosamond left in my house. Sludge is sniffing them. He has been sniffing them since Rosamond knocked on my door this morning. She was carrying a bunch of books. 3 more were piled on her head. Rosamond looked very strange. Rosamond looks strange all the time. I have great news, she said. I have started a book club. I am calling it Rosamond's Ready Readers. But there is trouble in the club. One of the members is trying to whack my cookbook. Look! Rosamond took a book off her head. The other 2 books fell off. Why are you carrying books on top of your head? I asked, because I'm president of a club now. These books help me hold my head high and look like a president. I, Nate the Great, knew that I was looking at a very strange president. This is my new cookbook, she said. Yesterday I left it open on my kitchen table after I made treats for the club meeting. When the meeting was over, I went to get the treats for the members. The page that was open was torn, ripped, ruined. Sludge and I looked at the page. I, Nate the Great, said that it was torn, ripped, ruined. Chapter 2. The Crime Scene. Rosamond poured something out of her pocket. Here is a photo of the crime scene, she said. I looked at the photo. Your kitchen was a crime scene? Of course. Keep this photo and study it. You can see that my cookbook is in the middle of my huge high table. The torn page had a recipe for tuna fish pie. The bits of pie that fell on the page are gone too. I want you to find the evil monster who did this. Monster? Yes, the evil page monster, Rosamond said. Now here is my plan. The next meeting will be at my house this afternoon. You and Sludge can come undercover. Just pretend you're new members. I'll be using this cookbook again. Meanwhile, I'll leave these other books here, where they'll be safe. I left 1 book at home. The members will be reading it at today's meeting. Rosamond piled her books on my floor. You're so lucky to have this case. I, Nate the Great, did not agree. Perhaps this is a case for a bookworm, I said. Enjoy being a bookworm, Rosamond said. I looked at Sludge. We both knew that if I didn't take the case, Rosamond would come back, and back, and back, and back. Chapter 3. A bookcase. I wrote a note to my mother. Dear Mother, Sludge and I are going to Rosamond's house. I am on what Rosamond thinks is a case. A bookcase. We are looking for an evil monster who tears, rips, and ruins. I will be back, I hope. Love, Nate the Great. Chapter 4. The Hungry Book Club. It was afternoon. Sludge and I went to Rosamond's house. She answered the door. She had only 1 book on her head. I peered inside her house. I saw Oliver, Pip, Finny, Claude, Esmeralda, Annie, and Annie's little brother Harry sitting in a circle. Also sitting in the circle were Annie's dog Fang and Rosamond's 4 cats, Plain X, Little Hex, Big X, and Super Hex. I stepped back. The Hexes and Fang belong to your book club? Sure, Rosamond said. Everybody loves stories and treats. I serve tuna fish pie to the cats and meat patties to Fang. Everybody else gets cookies. This is a very hungry book club. Come in. I, Nate the Great, am not in the mood for cookies or circles. I said. Sludge and I will sit in a corner. Chapter 5. Meet Harvard Hedgehog. Rosamond sat down in a big chair. She took the book off her head. She held it up. This is our book for today, she announced. Harvard Hedgehog. We will take turns reading it out loud. Then we will talk about the book. I will start. Harvard Hedgehog was always late. He arrived at parties just in time to bump into everyone leaving. He nibbled leftover cake crumbs and left melted ice cream. Then he sat in a corner and exclaimed, "Wonderful party!" to the empty room. I, Nate the Great, was sitting in a corner like Harvard Hedgehog. I pretended to go to sleep, but I was watching. The book went from member to member. Nobody was tearing pages. It was Esmeralda's turn to read. When Herbert went to the movies, he always got there. When the movie was over, as everyone was going out, Herbert was going in. He would sit down on stare popcorn and look up at the big empty screen. "Great show!" he exclaimed to no one. Herbert meant to be on time, but he never was. Suddenly, Esmeralda stopped reading. She looked puzzled. "A page is missing," she said. Rosamond looked straight at me. "A ripped page in one book, and now a missing page from another. When I bought this book, there were no pages missing." "I know because I read the entire book before I bought it." I, Nate the Great, looked at Sludge. I now knew we had a real case. Chapter 6. Double Trouble. Rosamond raised her arms. "As president of Rosamond's Ready Readers, I will not let this stop our book club meeting. Members, who would like to tell me what you think of the book so far?" Esmeralda raised her hand. "At first I thought that Herbert needed a watch, but now I know he needs a page." Claude raised his hand. Claude was always losing things. "I don't like the book because Herbert doesn't lose anything," he said. "If you never lose anything, you never have a chance to find what you didn't lose." "Excellent thought," Rosamond said. Oliver spoke up. "I follow that paper. Everyone knows I do. Herbert doesn't follow everybody. Herbert is a very boring hedgehog." "Thank you for sharing that with us," Rosamond said. Me. Harry was jumping up and down. "I like the book. I like the picture of Herbert smiling in front of the big clock the best." Rosamond smiled. "Well, we have a nice happy Herbert and a happy Harry," she said. "I am proud of all my members except whoever ripped a page and took a page." I, Nate the Great, was thinking, who would rip a page of the cookbook and take a page of Herbert Hedgehog? Someone who liked the books, or someone who disliked the books, or someone who couldn't decide. And where was the missing page? "I would like to see the book," I said. Rosamond handed it to me. "I see that the missing page would have been numbered 15 on one side and 16 on the other," I said. "Numbers crumbles." Rosamond said, "You have a double mystery. Just solved it." Chapter 7. The Evil Page Monster. Rosamond stood up. "Now it's time for treats," she said. "The animals are getting restless." Sludge and I followed Rosamond to the kitchen. It was a mess, but Sludge sniffed and sniffed. He liked this case because it smelled good. I saw a cookbook on the page. This time, the book was open to a recipe for meat patties. There were bits of meat on the page. Rosamond must have been using the cookbook today to make her treats. The page had no ribs. Fang and the Hexes walked in. Fang sniffed the table. He started to jump up and reach for the cookbook. "Stop!" Rosamond yelled. "You, Fang, are the evil page monster." I, President Rosamond, had solved this case. Fang must have sneaked in during yesterday's meeting, eaten the bits of food and read the page, and now I've stopped him from doing it again. Rosamond folded her arms and looked at me. "Time to find the missing page," she said. I, Nate the Great, had two choices. I could search for the missing page, or I could go home and eat pancakes and think. Chapter 8. Snips. I ate my pancakes while Sludge ate a bone. Then Sludge walked around the room. He was looking for something, and he found it. It was the photo Rosamond had left here. He sniffed it and sniffed it and sniffed it. Was he trying to tell me something? Was the ripped page case really solved? Did Fang really do it? I looked at the photo again. The page in the cookbook had no food on it. The page I had seen at Rosamond's house had tiny bits of meat on it. The recipe in the photo was for tuna fish pie. The recipe at her house was for meat patties. One recipe for cats, one recipe for dogs. "Good work, Sludge," I said. Chapter 9. Not so fast. I called Rosamond. "I am coming back to your house," I said. "And I need Annie and Fang to be there." I put the photo of the tuna fish pie page in my pocket. Sludge and I rushed to Rosamond's house. Rosamond was waiting for us at the door. "Your ripped page case is not solved," I said. "That Fangy Fang did it," Rosamond said, "and here he comes down the street with Annie." "We must all go into the kitchen," I said. Rosamond, Annie, Fang, Sludge, and I went into the kitchen. The cookbook was still opened on the table. Fang sniffed and ran to the table. "Ho-hum," Rosamond said. "We already know that Fang ripped a page yesterday." "Wait," I said. Fang jumped up and put his front paws on the table. He opened his jaws. He stretched. But he couldn't reach the cookbook. "This table is too high and big for Fang," I said. "Poor Fang," Annie said. "He's big and smart, but he isn't that stretchy." I, Nate the Great, already knew that. Fang would have dropped the bits of meat during the meeting if he could have reached them. Rosamond sighed. "Okay, so Fang couldn't have ripped the page yesterday." "Correct," I said. "Also, he doesn't like tuna fish pie." I pulled the cookbook photo out of my pocket. This photo shows the cookbook open to a tuna fish pie recipe. But the open pages had no bits of tuna fish on them. "I already knew that," Rosamond said. "I, Nate the Great, say that someone reached for those tuna fish bits and was scratching and tearing to get every last bite." "Who?" Rosamond asked. "Little Hex," I said. "He can leap high. Also, he can hide in small spaces. He is so smart that he could have gone into the kitchen and come back without your seeing him." Rosamond clapped her hands. "Little Hex is growing up, my darling little page monster." I, Nate the Great, say that the ripped page case is solved, and you should try to keep your kitchen neater. Clean clothes are better. I took 2 bones from my pocket and gave one to Fang and one to Sludge. Roseman kept clapping. Little Hex must have taken the Harvard Hedgehog page too. What a talent he has! Not so fast, I said. You are trying to reuse a clue. Little Hex might not have taken the page. Tell me everything about your Harvard Hedgehog book. Well, yesterday Annie and I went to the book sale at the school around the corner. I bought the book there. I read it before I bought it. There weren't any missing pages. After I bought the book, I kept it with me. In my hands, on my head. I even slept with it. Is there anything else I should know? I asked. No, I'm a president. I think of everything. Then I must leave, I said. Leave? But you just came. That's how it is in the detective business, I said. We come, we go. We go where the clues take us. Nate the Great knew that I needed more clues. If the book was with Roseman all the time, how could a page be missing? Chapter 10. Stretchy Fang. Annie, Fang, Sludge, and I left Roseman's house. I am looking for a new clue, I said to Annie, a missing page clue. I don't have any clue, Annie said, but I want you to know that Fang can be stretchy some of the time. You should have seen him at the school book sale. What? I said. He was there? I brought him along when I went with Rosamond. Annie said. Tell me exactly how Fang was stretchy there, I said. Well, we went to the used books table. A lady there told us that some books might have food stains, loose bindings, and faded pages. Rosamond began picking through books and reading them. If she liked a book, she put it in a pile on the table. Suddenly, Fang put his paws on the table and started to sniff a book. There were stains on it that looked like chicken noodle soup. Fang licked the book. Then he pawed through more books and licked pages. Lots of books fell to the floor. Fang was really stretchy. It was his kind of table. Then what happened? I picked up the book that Fang had licked and I bought them. Rosamond's piles have topped over, but she scooped up her books from the table and the floor. I bought them. We both went home with four bags. Since Fang had licked and liked the books, I put them all in his big doghouse. Thank you for the information, I said. I turned to Sludge. You and I are going to school. Chapter 11. School Clues. Sludge and I rushed to the school. The book sale was in the gym. A lady walked up to us. I knew she was a librarian because she had a badge on her shirt that said librarian. Sometimes being a detective is easy. Hello, I said. I am looking for Harvard Hedgehog. You're in luck, the librarian said. We've sold 2 copies of Harvard, but we still have one left. And here he is on the table. Do you have pages 15 and 16? I asked. Yes, the pages are in good shape, clean and with strong binding. No chicken noodle soup. I said. What? I was just thinking. I'm a detective. I think a lot. I think I will buy this book. I bought the book and thanked the librarian. Then Sludge and I went home. Chapter 12. The Hedgehog Picture. I sat down in my favorite chair. I opened my Harvard Hedgehog book. I turned to page 15. There was a picture of Harvard getting his photo taken in front of a big clock. He looked proud, and he was smiling. But why would anyone take that page? Nate the Great said that there must be far better things in this world to watch than a hedgehog posing for his photo. And then I remembered something. What I had just seen in the book was not news to me. I had already heard about it. Nate the Great was about to serve this case. Chapter 13. Reading Together. I had two clues. School clues. I was told that the pages in my book were in good shape, clean, strong binding. Annie was told that some books have loose bindings. Pages bindings. Nate the Great said that the loose binding could cause a loose page, and a loose page could become a missing page. There had been 3 copies of the Herbert Hedgehog book at the used books table. Rosamond had picked a good copy, but when her pile fell down, she must have grabbed the copy that had the missing page. She didn't know it. Annie must have bought the good copy that Rosamond had picked out, and she didn't know it. And how did Nate the Great know it? Because I now remember where I had heard about Herbert Hedgehog smiling in front of a big clock. From Harry, at the book club meeting. But how could Harry have known what was on the page 15 since it was missing? Because he had seen the book at home. Harry must have been looking at Fang's books, and he saw the Herbert Hedgehog picture. I turned to Sludge. I must give this book to Rosamond and tell her that the case is solved. I must also tell Annie to feed Fang plenty of chicken noodle soup. But there is something else I want to do first. Nate the Great, picked up every book that Rosamond had brought over and carefully put them on a shelf, just where they should be, I said. Then I took my Herbert Hedgehog book and sat down in my chair. I am going to read this book as a reader and not as a detective, I said. Let's read it together. Sludge jumped up on my lap. Nate the Great, read and read until I reached the end.